Have you ever wanted to achieve something good, but found yourself giving up when it got hard? In a context where people are trained with short attention spans to have everything in an instant, ideas like fortitude have largely been lost. This is the thing. There is a great English phrase, keep calm and carry on. This speaks of two things: having the best temperament you can have to be able to perform at your best, having the confidence you already have what you need to get through the challenge ahead. Then there is the idea of keeping going to achieve what you are trying to achieve. In order to help us do this well, we will look at 5 areas: expectation, the vision, mental equipping, practice, small to high, failure as a teacher. Expectation. The expectations we have of ourselves can shape if we are going to keep going or give up before we achieve the good we would like to achieve. In this section, we are going to analyse some different ideas of how they can impact our ability to keep going. The first idea we will look at is it's too much effort. When this is the position a person has, the good thing they would like to attain is not worth what it takes to get it. This means the person is accepting the current position they have as better than the good they would actually want. This makes sense in a context where maybe we have one career direction we are really happy with, and there is another one that sounds interesting, but the personal cost to get to it, plus not feeling like it would lead to a much better situation once there, makes the effort not worthwhile. However, if the too much effort idea would actually get us to a better living situation that is also more affordable, then that too much effort idea becomes a barrier to something that would be an important improvement for us. Instead, if we have the idea that it is a large effort that is worth the outcome, then we start from a place of willingness to change things. Then we can add the idea that we can achieve it with the correct knowledge and practice. Then we now have an expectation that sets us up better for keeping going until we attain the good that we want. Another area around expectation is personal powerlessness outside of our control. So the good we want, we determine is unattainable because of government, being a victim of circumstances, our past says how our future is going to go. The good change is impossible. Another idea could be everything being set against us, which stops us from even trying. There are many prisons that are set up for the mind. Whilst there are things that are outside of our control, there are many things that are within our control. If we feel like we are powerless to do anything, that is great for others who don't believe that, and it benefits them to make others believe in their own powerlessness, as less competition is better from other people's perspective. But generally, as humans, we already have different abilities, including the ability to learn, the ability to improve, abilities to improve our own situations. So, with belief in our abilities, we then need direction. The vision. A person without vision has no sense of direction and will then be like putty in the hands of others who would want to define their direction for them. With any direction, there are 3 things to think about: an outcome you want. If you can be influenced by the outcomes of other people because you like to fit in, the short term could lead to an outcome you don't like in the long term, so choose your own outcome. An outcome that is more valuable than current circumstances can help to stay motivated. An outcome that is attainable but challenging can help keep it engaging. Once you have the vision that you want to attain, then you want to start with the different truths you need. These will include what you need to know, what you need to believe, what you need to be aware of. Then you will have the way to get to that vision. This is where you develop milestones, you create a pathway to identify smaller goals along the way. The final thing of this is you need the first step you're going to take. Taking the first step is the most important of the pathway. Finally, when you have the path to the vision you are going down, you want to go through the doors of opportunity that get you to that vision. As you keep going further towards your vision, the knowledge you gain, the skills you acquire, will be noticed by others. And then when doors of opportunity present themselves, then you can take the ones that help you in the direction of your vision. You can also use the things you acquire to update your vision or create new visions. By going down the path, even if it turns out not to be where you thought you wanted to end up, you still end up in an improved place in comparison to the place of not doing anything. With the vision set and the first step you know you need to take, you want to ensure you have the thinking you need in order to take action. Mental equipping. What a person feeds themselves is important. This is true when it comes to healthy eating. However, in this section, we are going to focus on the mind. To help embed the ideas of keeping going, we need to change the narratives we receive, particularly from gloomy news sources, which can implant feelings of hopelessness, powerlessness, anger, fear, anxiety, etc. Imagine if you started reading and listening to stories of people who chose not to give up. Not only is there the entertaining element to their stories, but there is also drawing the idea of not giving up from many different examples. In thinking about what you see and hear, are those things contributing or taking away from the areas of vision you have? There is a sense of preparing your mind for action. A person who is inspired and motivated to keep going is going to be in a far better place than a person who has fed their mind with tragedy and things never working out. Think about this. If everything you listened to either motivated you towards your vision, gave you knowledge you needed for your vision, an opportunity to do the things you needed to do to attain your vision, do you think that would make it harder or easier to keep going than the current influences you give yourself? With the right mindset, we want to be able to get good at the skills required for our vision. This requires practice. Practice small to high. The ability to keep going is not only something that can be done with just theory only. Particularly when there are large fears or anxiety around something, it can feel very difficult. Since everyone's situation is different, some people may need therapeutic help with this, others won't. If therapeutic help is required, then go with that. For this video, we will look at the practice of keeping going small to high. Something that can be helpful for some is to start with a small exposure to something difficult. In the process, get used to that small thing until you are comfortable. Then increase the exposure to greater difficulty until you are comfortable with it. Then repeat this until it is high exposure to high difficulty. This idea can be applied with the idea of keeping going with things. So we start with keeping going in small bursts, with smaller things. Then with things for longer, until we can keep going towards our vision with the most difficult things we need to attain for our vision. This practice is one methodology. There are others. Just as some people gradually enter a swimming pool and others jump straight in the deep end, different people respond differently to circumstances. There is no one-size-fits-all solution. You know yourself, so build for yourself both the practice situations you need to keep going and also the mental sustenance you need to help you in that. Also be aware of how you process failure in the midst of that. Failure as a teacher. One of the biggest things that can cause people to give up completely is failure. When failure is interpreted as not being good enough or giving the conclusion someone is not the right person for something because of the failure, then that can create the end of someone keeping going at what they want to achieve. Many people miss out on attaining some of the good they want because failure stops them in their tracks. Something successful people will generally have is some type of experience of failure as a teacher. If failure is just a consistent pattern that doesn't change, then it will bring things to an end. If failure teaches someone to do something both differently and better, then the analogy of a student learning from a teacher makes sense. When failure teaches people, the improvements mean they can keep going with their direction, as it is then shaped, progressing them towards the destination of their vision, even if the pathway is slightly different, even if the vision gets shaped by the failure. But the person learns the lessons and keeps going to the newly shaped vision, they will attain something better than when they started, even if it is not the outcome they expected they would be going for. As I've improved my own mental equipping, I progressed from the idea that failure means I stopped doing something 2, failure teaches me how to do something better. By doing this, I have gained a desire to persist in the things that are important. I hope you get the persistence to achieve the outcomes you desire. Birds of a feather, we grow together.